Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Today I'm sharing some disappointing products. I have been testing out a lot of products this summer and I've discovered a lot that I really love. I've filmed quite a few recommendations videos, favorites videos, so I'll link some of them in the description box below. But inevitably, when I'm testing out new products, I do come across things that don't work out for me. So I thought I would share them with you in today's video and just kind of give you a roundup of products that I was just a little bit let down by and things that I didn't like for whatever reason. A few of these are what I would consider poor quality products, so I really wouldn't recommend them, but a couple of them didn't work out for me just because of my skin type or my makeup preferences. So I'll let you guys know if I think they will work for you if you prefer something different. I'm also going to link some product alternatives in the description box below in case you guys are interested in hearing what I like instead of the products that I mentioned in today's video. So let's jump into it and I'll kick it off with the mascara. So you guys might know that I am a big fan of the new Urban Decay Perversion liquid liner. I've been raving about that a lot over the past few months because that truly is like a long wearing liquid liner. I have a feeling it's going to replace all of the other liquid liners in my collection as my absolute favorite, but I've really been enjoying it. Urban Decay did send that to me in PR, but they also sent me the Urban Decay Perversion Waterproof Mascara. And I don't wear waterproof mascara super often, but now that it is summer, there are occasions where I will reach for it. So I tested this one out because I really do like the original Perversion mascara. I think it does such a great job at making your lashes super thick and voluminous and dramatic. So I was excited to test out the waterproof version. Now I will say that I do find it to be waterproof, so I don't have an issue with that. The issue for me is that it just doesn't perform as well as the original Urban Decay Perversion mascara. That mascara is such a great option, like I said, if you want really dramatic lashes. And I just found that when I applied this, my lashes looked so lackluster. It really was an underwhelming formula. If you like the original Perversion and you're looking for a waterproof version, I will say that you'll probably be let down by this formula. Again, it does stay in place really well, which is nice, but I just don't find that it does or gives my lashes the same effect as the original. So one of my favorite products is the Smashbox Primerizer. That is my go-to face primer. I've repurchased it so many times and I really haven't found a face primer that I like as much as that one. It does such a great job at prepping your skin for makeup application. Everything is smooth and hydrated and soft and glowy, and it's just like the perfect face primer. So they actually came out with a shimmery version of it. This one is the Photo Finish Crystallized Primerizer, and it was part of the Smashbox Hood Witch collaboration. They released a few different products. They did send this to me in PR, so I decided to give it a shot. And when you look at it in the bottle, it has a really pretty duochrome shimmer in it. It almost goes from peach to gold, and I think the actual color is really pretty. It could be really beautiful depending on your personal makeup preferences. If you like to kick off your routine with a really glowy base, both in terms of hydration and shimmer, then you might really like this one. But personal preference aside, I don't feel like this performs as well as the original Primerizer. And at first I was like, am I just kind of overthinking it? I went onto Ulta's website to compare the ingredients to see if they were different, and they're really not very different. There are very, very subtle differences, I think because obviously this one does have shimmer in it, but when I apply this one to the skin, this one tends to ball up in certain areas on my skin, and it doesn't lay as smoothly or evenly as the original. And again, I think it's because it does have a significant amount of shimmer in it. I don't know that it's super noticeable to the point where it would really make a big difference for you, but I think if you're going to pay full price for a high-end primer, those cons are worth mentioning, and I would just go with the original one anyways. I think the only reason, or one of the reasons you might be drawn to this one in particular, is because this one does go on sale. I've seen it on sale a few times because it is a limited edition collection, so you might be tempted to buy this one thinking it will give you a very similar effect, but the actual texture, it just is not as smooth as the original. So I just wanted to include my thoughts on this in case it does go on sale and you're interested in picking it up. You might like it, but I just thought I would share the pros and the cons. I do have another primer to mention. This one is the Covergirl Outlast All Day Primer. So this one is more affordable. I think it's like $12, but $12 is still a good amount of money to pay for something that didn't work out that well for me. So this one is supposed to extend the wear of your makeup. It's not necessarily supposed to be overly mattifying, overly hydrating. It's just supposed to give you a really good base before applying makeup. It feels nice. It has a very smooth texture and it really does make my skin look smooth and look even. So when I'm first applying my foundation on top, it goes on really nicely. If you struggle with large pores or texture, I think that you will notice a difference when you first apply it. But I don't find that it really does extend the wear of my makeup. And I almost feel like my makeup tends to break down in the areas where I apply this after a few hours. I do have another CoverGirl product that did not work out for me. This one is the COLORLICIOUS lip gloss, and I have the shade Give Me Guava. I actually picked this up because I read on Pinterest that it was a dupe for the Fenty Gloss Bomb, and I was looking for a dupe for that gloss. And I picked it up at the drugstore. I think it was like $6, so not a bad price point, but this definitely is not a dupe for that gloss. The gloss itself is very, very sheer. So even when you layer it up, you get a pretty sheer application. It does have a ton of gold shimmer in it, so it looks pretty on the lips. It almost looks like a clear gloss with gold shimmer, so I think it looks pretty over lipstick, but it doesn't give me enough color. I typically prefer a sheer gloss that has a hint of color. This one really doesn't have any color, at least on my lips. I also wasn't really impressed by the formula. I do not find that it lasts on my lips for really more than like 30 minutes. If I'm talking, it's going to wear away so quickly, and it's not a hydrating gloss. It feels a little bit drying on the lips. It's super thin, and I just think there are so many good gloss formulas on the market that this is one that I really did not enjoy. So I also picked up these NYX Powder Puff Lippies. These are powder lip creams because I was looking for a dupe for the Too Faced Peach Puff lipsticks. Those are really beautiful, like soft, diffused matte lip colors. And a lot of you guys were actually asking me if these NYX lip products were a good alternative. And I have to say that these are not as impressive as the Too Faced lipsticks. I really enjoy those Too Faced lipsticks, and they are expensive because they are high-end lip products, but they perform so much better, in my opinion, than these NYX Powder Puff Lippies. These do look similar, and at first I thought they might be a good dupe. They do have like a sponge tip applicator, and when you apply them to the lips, I mean, I just applied them to the hand right here, but they give you like a soft, diffused matte application. So they do look really nice, but they kind of settle into fine lines. And if you have any dryness at all, it will enhance that dryness and make your lips look so dehydrated. On top of that, they aren't really long wearing lip colors. I don't think they technically claim to be, but the Too Faced lip colors are a little bit more long wearing, so they will last on the lips for a few hours, whereas these will come right off. If you are eating or drinking, they're not transfer proof or even really transfer resistant. So I think I talked about these next two products in one of my monthly favorites and fails videos, but I always like to do like a roundup and share all of the disappointing products that I've recently tried in one place. So I did want to touch on them again in case you guys missed those videos. But this one is the Fenty Beauty Sunstalker Instant Warmth Bronzer. I have the shade Into Sun. You guys, I wanted to like this product so much, but something that I've learned about myself in 2019 is that I am so unnecessarily picky about my bronzers. I don't know what it is, but I have like one or two bronzers that I really love, and I've slowly been decluttering the majority of my bronzer collection because every month I put one in my everyday makeup drawer, and if it does not compare to my favorites, I declutter it. So I've kind of taken a step back from purchasing new bronzers because they're really rarely is a new bronzer that I fall in love with, and I just didn't like this one either. The thing about this one is that I find it to be so super matte, and if you like an intensely matte bronzer, then you might really enjoy this one, but I think that it's almost overly matte. It does not blend well on my skin at all. It doesn't matter what setting powder I'm using. It doesn't really matter, you know, what brush I use. Every single time I go to blend this onto my skin, it looks patchy and uneven, and it is not flattering at all. If you do not like overly matte bronzers, I would probably skip over this one. They do have a good shade range, which is really great, and you know, some people do enjoy it. So again, this one kind of comes down to personal preference, but honestly, like my $6 e.l.f. bronzer blends so much better than this one. So I just think it wasn't really worth the money for me. I did get this product sent to me as PR as well. This one is the Too Faced Hyper Reflective Highlighting Palette. It is so cute, to be honest. Like, I love the packaging. I think it could have been really, really good, but I'm just not impressed by the formula. And this is pretty pricey. It's $42, and I don't think $42 would be a terrible price point if it worked really well, but I just wasn't impressed by it. It is very glittery, and to be fair, they do market it as a pretty glittery highlight palette. So I didn't have an issue with that because I knew what I was getting into. I mean, if you look at it, you can tell that it's going to be really glittery. So the actual base of of the highlighter. Like not all of the glitter and shimmer mixed in. The actual base is not what I would consider very flattering. It does not blend out very well on my skin. And on top of that, you know, when you swatch them on the hand, they're pretty intense, but when you use a brush and actually like apply it to the cheekbones, it doesn't pick up a lot of the base. It mostly picks up like the shimmer and the glitter. So you don't really get a ton of highlight. You more so get like a wash of shimmer and glitter on your cheeks. You could go in with like a sponge or your finger and apply the product that way, and I would say that it would probably apply a little bit better if you were to do that, but I also find that the product itself just kind of skips on the skin. You don't get a smooth, seamless application, and at this point there are so many good highlighters on the market that I feel like the actual formula itself is not worth $42 in my opinion. Okay, the last product that I want to mention is something that I went back and forth on for a little while. I picked it up a few months ago when I was at Walmart buying a few Flower Beauty products. This is their beauty sponge. It retails for $10. I've heard so many good things about the Flower Beauty sponge that I was so excited to test it out, and I am like so content with my Real Techniques beauty sponge. That is my absolute favorite. I think it retails for like $5 or $6. So typically I don't try a lot of new beauty sponges, but this one was pretty affordable. $10 is not a bad price point, but I don't know. I just don't like this one as much as the Real Techniques sponge. I feel like the texture is fine and it applies the product fine, but I also feel like it does soak up more of my product than my Real Techniques sponge. So if I'm using it for foundation or concealer, I notice that it sucks up a lot of the product and then I have to end up applying more than I did originally. So that part is a little bit frustrating, but I just don't find that I like the shape of this sponge as much as I do the Real Techniques sponge. This part right here is the part that I use the most, like the tapered pointed part, but I don't feel like there's enough surface area to work with. Like the Real Techniques sponge is just the perfect shape no matter which way I turn it, no matter how I use it, because there are a lot of like flat pointed spaces. This one is more rounded. So typically when I use my sponge, I just like for it to be a little bit more pointed. So I wouldn't consider it like the worst beauty sponge on the market. I have tried so many beauty sponges that are really, really bad. I think that this one works fine, but I think it just kind of comes down to personal preference and the shape that I like with my beauty sponges. And now that I've had the chance to really test it out multiple times, I just wanted to come back and share my thoughts on it. So those are all of the disappointing products that I have to share with you guys in today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I hope that you guys have a wonderful rest of your night, and I'll see you very soon with a new video. Bye.